All right, folks. It's January 4th, 2022, our first city manager and mayor update of the year. Welcome aboard, Mayor-elect Vivian McKenzie.
How about mayor? I'm no longer mayor-elect.
Mayor-elect, you're the real deal now.
That's what they told me on Saturday, so I'm going with that.
That sounds like that was actually a really wonderful event on Saturday with a great turnout and a lot of really meaningful statements by people. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. It was a great event, and I'd just like to thank staff for making sure everything went so smoothly and following COVID practices and making sure that everybody was safe. So thanks to the city for that. But yeah, welcome. It's January 4th, 2022, and it's my first presentation as mayor on our Facebook Live here. So thank you for that. And Andy, what do we have on our agenda today?
So we're gonna do our usual routine until we decide to change it, which is I usually start out with a COVID update. And as most people know, the city publishes COVID active cases and the vaccination rate on our city Facebook page, which is where you can get any breaking news from the city of Peekskill. And those numbers are coming directly from the county health department's data portal, which anybody can look at. It has a very handy map and it provides updates. As everybody knows, with the Omicron virus, the numbers are really going through the roof. Only a week or two ago, we had 120 active cases of COVID in the city. And as of a day or two ago, it was 836. So the numbers are going up by orders of magnitude. That number is certainly scary, and people should be taking every possible precaution to protect themselves, particularly people who have vulnerabilities, elderly, the young, the sick, and so on, wearing masks, washing hands, social distancing, and so on. I think what we're worried about here is the emergency room situation in the local hospitals, because you may get sick and not they might not have space, or one of your family members. So that's the concern, and I know that the mayor and others are watching these hospital ICU bed situation. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say that we are. It's really important as you're watching the broadcast all over the country, specifically here in New York, that it is prudent and really important to make sure you're up to date with your vaccines and boosters. That's really what is going to combat, so they're saying, this variant. So to be really diligent with that. And again, as you said, the social distancing, and just doing what you can to stay safe. Testing is really important. As everybody may know, last week, the city did get the rapid test from the county, and we gave out all those tests, well over 1,200 tests. And I'd like to thank staff and council people for participating in doing that. We do not have any more of them, but as soon as we get them from the county, we will distribute again. And Andy will come up with a way to distribute those with the council and so forth. But it's really, really important that people try to stay as safe as they can.
Right, and also note that it's good to see our vaccination rate steadily climbing in the city of Peekskill. It was not that high before. If you go back to August, that period we were around 70% vaccination rate. Now we're up to 87.7 of eligible people having at least one shot, and the numbers have been steadily climbing. Obviously, people are kind of getting the message. And that's the single best way that they can take action to protect their own safety and that of others.
And remember, there can be a breakthrough if you're vaccinated, but science is showing that you tend to be better off if you're vaccinated should you get COVID. So something to think about, folks.
Yep. So thanks for that. So we're cautious, and I just want to mention we're going to be reverting for a period of time to a appointment-based access to City Hall. City Hall has never been closed, but City Hall front door will be by admission through a buzzer system. The intercom was installed during the peak of the COVID last year, and it works pretty well. There's a sign there. This is starting tomorrow morning, which has the extensions for each of the offices anybody might want to contact. You buzz that number, and if you can't get somebody to leave a message, we call people back, and we let people through. And when you come through, you'll be required to have a mask on, go through the temperature check, fill out the survey, which asks if you've been exposed to anybody in quarantine and so We have greeters in the lobby who help people find their way where they need to go. This is all in order to protect public health, to keep guests safe, to keep staff safe, to prevent there being kind of a jam up in the hallway. You know, clerk's office is a popular place for people to go. And also to make sure that, people are, kind of making sure they're safe. You shouldn't be going into a public space if you actually should be in quarantine. And so from time to time, we do find people who say, yeah, my family member is in quarantine right now. We're like, look, you know what? We're happy to talk with you on the phone. We'll help you out any way we can. There's also a drop box on the outside of City Hall, so people can drop off their paperwork, applications, and anything they have for a city office. So
Yeah. So just to reiterate on that, City Hall is open and functioning, but we're just taking some precautions for the public and for our staff, which is really important. And we're just asking the public to be aware of this and think about it. It's really for your protection as well. We don't want a bunch of people piled up in City Hall and not social distancing. So still
yeah.
accessible, still there for everyone's needs, but just a little change.
Another thing that the city does to try to keep people safe is have virtual meetings. We support that for all our boards and commissions as they see the need. They'll do that. The city council obviously meets virtually for its council of the whole meetings. We still have the hybrid model for the common council meeting. I'm going to ask the council this week if you want to go to full virtual for a probably the first one we can do that would be January 24th. But that's something we should keep in the back of our minds. It may make sense to do that for a period of time. The state is what allows us to have remote meetings, and we keep an eye on that state law because periodically they extend it, and I expect them to do that again. But if they don't, then we're forced back into the room. So,
Okay.
so we do have people out on quarantine right now within the city ranks. We have police officers, firefighters, a couple guys in the DPW, and others who were obviously our thoughts and prayers are for their quick recovery, and we deal with the sort of staffing shortages here and there as needed. But it's definitely an issue. Everybody's facing this. Everybody's got family members with the.
That's just an example to show this is very close to home. And I don't think there's any family out there that's not touched at this point, or any person who doesn't know someone who has COVID.
So thanks for spending a little time on that, Mayor, because it's something that Mayor Rainey and I always sort of reiterated every chance we got. A couple of policy updates just on city matters, common council work. There's the public hearing on the proposed affordable housing ordinance is taking place on Monday. And just to reiterate what that's all about, it's a zoning law essentially, which would require new development of multifamily dwellings to set aside a certain percentage of units for an affordable price. And the law details how that price would be arrived at and administered and so on. It's an inclusionary zoning. It's been very well debated within the city council, and there's been a lot of information about that in the public, and there's a lot of people who are for it. The city is definitely does a lot of work on affordable housing, obviously running the Section 8 program and supporting the Housing Authority. But this inclusionary zoning kind of policy is an important piece of the puzzle for maintaining affordability in the city as we see rents going up and property values going up and so on.
And so for the public, this is a time for you to come out and give your opinion on what is on the table. So the council has spent a lot of time trying to put this ordinance together. We've had some consultants come in. So this is, what is being presented, and this is the time for the public to come out and comment on what's being presented. So it's real important. It will start at 7:30 on Monday in the council chambers.
Right. Yep. It's been Rose Noonan, the expert, our policy expert, will be there as well, and Gene Freeman, our planning director, will offer comments and so on. Another policy matter that we've been working on lately, which has been recently voted on, was the tree ordinance.
Yay.
Which had a lot of support in the community. The council worked on it. Our wonderful conservation advisory committee worked on it. We had a lot of consultation from the building department and the DPW. And it's essentially a law that requires a permit for cutting down a tree on private property. Most municipalities have this kind of law. The city did not. And it kind of balances the need for public benefits around preserving trees with the need for the private ability to manage your property as you see fit. Obviously, hazardous trees can be cut down. Trees can be cut down. It's just the law provides for a replacement plan. And it kind of puts a little speed bump there. So people need to think about it a bit, do an application, talk with the building department, and kind of go through some steps. So it's exciting to see that law actually passed and Peekskill. It gets Peekskill a little closer to being a tree city, through the National Arbor Foundation. Having a municipal law for a tree removal permit is a part of that, along with having a tree planting program and some other features. So.
Right. And trees are really important. I want the public to really realize, though, if you have a tree that's hit through a storm or lightning and it's half hanging, that is not what we're talking about. That's something that's an emergency and that would be taken care of. But we're talking about if we just want to, you don't like the tree, you want to remove the tree or what have it be, we're asking you to come in and get a permit and go through the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an additional control. If you're building a deck or expanding your driveway or some other use and you need to remove a tree, instead of the usual building application, you'd have a tree removal permit as well.
Right.
And it would hopefully lead to a fund for planting trees in the city as well, which is something we really need to do. We've identified dozens of empty tree wells in the downtown area. We got about 13 trees planted this fall, thanks to Chappie Manzer in part, in a DPW as well. That accident that happened on Restaurant Row actually took out one of our prized trees, along with a parking meter.
Right.
And so the trees, they don't last forever, and we need to have a tree planting program. The council recently approved the having an agreement with a professional arborist who can advise us on tree replacement and tree hazards and risks and so on. So we're looking forward to developing that program further in the coming year. Another policy question that's being actively pursued right now is this whole sidewalk snow removal policy. We had the public hearing on that. The city council had asked for and later approved a new ordinance that basically empowers the city to assign sidewalk cleanup to a private vendor when the property owner fails to comply with the snow removal deadline. And it liberalized that deadline for residential property from 4 to 24 hours after the stop of snowing. So it gave people a little more of a window to get it done, but it creates a little more of a hammer to make sure it gets done. And so we're working on implementing that now through a contracting process.
And just so, we did not change for commercial properties. It's still the 4-hour window after it stops snowing. But the rationale behind that is because those generally are areas that are heavily traveled by people. And we need to make sure that those properties are cleaned up as soon as reasonably possible so that people are not at risk, pedestrians and so forth. And that was the rationale behind that. We want our property owners, our homeowners, residents to do the same thing. But sometimes, snow may stop and you're at work. And, it's the middle of the day. We wanted to make sure that that kind of stuff was taken into consideration because we do plan to enforce this. So we want to make sure that everyone has a fair opportunity.
And it's going to snow sooner or later.
Yeah. Later. Let's go for the later.
I love snow. I just wish it wouldn't fall on city streets,
I love just one big snow. Get it done and over with. And then
right.
We don't need any more.
We encourage people to go out, build a snow sculpture in Depew Park, enjoy the snow. And we really, really thank people for clearing their sidewalks in both the business area and in the residential. It's really important.
We do have both commercial and residential people who really do exactly what they're supposed to do. And we thank you for that. They do.
Yeah, it's always a shame when you see someone missed the ball for some reason. They're away, they're on vacation, or they had a change in management. And you see people struggling to get through that area. It's just, so we're trying to avoid that kind of hazard. Let's see, what else can we talk about as far as policy work? The city made a decision on the cannabis retail outlet question. We've talked about that pretty extensively before. Let's see.
So just meaning the city is not opting out. So, we're in the program, and once the state determines what the guidelines will be, then, we'll see what happens. But the city did not opt out.
Yeah, right now, just as an update of that, we don't have any active business sort of retail license inquiries. The licensing, of course, is a matter of state jurisdiction. But as soon as somebody says they want to set up a dispensary or lounge in the city of Peekskill, the city would be notified and would have an opportunity to comment on that. And the city council can do more work as far as policy on this issue, something we should come back around to. Right now, they'd be treated as retail within the existing zoning law. So we'll see how that works. I know that there's a lot of good questions and debate, and a lot of information has been flowing about it, and there's still more to learn.
Yep.
I wanted to mention, just as an encouragement, that tomorrow is the citywide newspaper cardboard recycling pickup. Recycling is really, really important. It helps to divert trash out of the waste stream and into recycling. It lowers our cost for disposal on trash, and it's good for the environment. And we work real hard to get out there and get the recycling. And not everybody puts their recycling out. It'd be nice if we had even higher participation rates on that.
Exactly.
It's a good thing to do. We promote it and spend a lot of money picking it up. So please, 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 please use that service. And especially after the holidays, a lot of people with gift giving and obviously
Boxes and
boxes from things that have been ordered. Pretty much everybody's got a lot of stuff to recycle at this time.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's see, what else can we say?
I want to talk a little bit about, Dave Rambo did a presentation regarding our water treatment plant at our last meeting. I do believe it's posted on our website somewhere. If folks didn't get a chance to see it live, to please go back and take a look at it. Very, very interesting. Really explains where we are in our water treatment and how it's done, and kind of why you see brown water and why you don't see brown water. It was a real great report. And it's amazing that we have our own water treatment center here in Peekskill. Every municipality doesn't have that. While we have infrastructure issues and the piping and so forth, we have a great program here. So folks, take a look at that. You'll really be enlightened by what we have here in the city.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Mayor. All the meetings are on the city's YouTube channel. Anybody can click on that and see the conversations taking place and the presentations and so on. Part of what's going on, I'm sure Dave must have mentioned this, is city's reservoirs are outside the city limits, up in the Wikipedia reservoir area and so on. And so the city is actually working with neighboring municipalities to ensure that there are no impacts from land use and other issues that might affect water quality in those reservoirs and the streams coming down.
Really taking the steps to protect our sources. So
yeah, it's exciting work. It's part of the sustainability equation for sure. There's a couple of, I just want to mention that obviously the New Year's ball drop was canceled due to the COVID situation. Of course, that was a disappointment. We're hoping to use those fireworks and the music and so on at another opportunity when it's safe to do that. We'll have more to celebrate, hopefully maybe in July 4th area, something like that. We appreciate the folks who try to organize that and came together, the police department, Kenny Lewis, who does a lot of work on that, the bid, and others. We're ready to have a great presentation, but unfortunately it couldn't be done. So that was too bad. I wanted to mention the Youth Bureau has some great programs going on right now. They've got a training program for the trades. Folks in the higher teens and low 20s can participate in getting certified to work on construction sites in various ways. The flyers are up on our bulletin boards and on the city website. And the Youth Bureau, of course, is constantly churning out these great programs. So thanks to them for that.
I believe that's for 18 to 24-year-old youth. It's a real exciting program where really can put those individuals into a job, be trained and put into a job. It's an opportunity, folks, that you should not miss if you're in that age range and you're looking for a job.
If you want to take a few minutes, we'll look at some Facebook questions, Mayor, before we close out. We usually run this for about a half an hour. So let's see. Well, first of all, someone's saying check your volume control. Hopefully the audio isn't bad on this. I can double check that when we appreciate, the community members are the eyes and ears of City Hall. Basically, anything you see that we need to know about, we appreciate, whether it's a pothole or just sort of a glitch on the website or something like that. Please let us know. Let's see. Someone wants to know what the definition of affordable is, how it's different from low income, subsidized workforce, etc. The terms are confusing. Please read the proposed law that's been issued for the public hearing. It defines affordability relative to the average income in the area and the basic tenet of affordability is that the expectation is that housing is affordable when it costs somebody about 30% or less of their household income. and those household incomes are measured and tracked by the federal government by region. And so there's language in there that's very specific about how affordability is defined. It's been a big part of the writing of that law. So I appreciate that question. There's a question regarding mask use and how transmissible the Omicron is, which we appreciate. We've really been kind of reinforcing that in this video chat. But yes, masks are required when coming to anytime in City Hall, essentially. If anybody's in a shared space, it could be a bathroom, a hallway, an office area, or the council meeting chambers, and others. People should keep their masks on. The specific question is when speaking. Sometimes people do take their masks off when they're speaking. I'm somewhat liberal about that, but maybe we want to change that. Sometimes it's just a matter of convenience, and it's just for a short period of time, and they're 6 feet away from others. But we can certainly talk about whether we want to enforce a more strict rule on that. I would be opposed. Let's see. Those are the comments that I'm seeing right now, Mayor. I'm not seeing any questions beyond that, unless I'm missing some. I'm seeing 8 comments. So 1, 2, 3.
I just want to mention, I know the posting went out today and we mentioned it last night, but there's now an open council seat on the city council, and we are accepting resumes, letters of interest. So if anyone is interested in applying for that seat, they just need to send their information into the city clerk. We're asking it to be done by January 18th. And once everyone's resumes are in, a deadline falls, people will be interviewed and the seat will be filled.
Thank you for that. Yeah, so we'll look forward to getting some great nominations. A couple other quick questions. Do we have the numbers on Peekskill residents who were tested this past Sunday at Assumption Parish? I do not have those numbers. Maybe the parish does, or whoever was doing the testing. Are there plans to distribute N95 masks to Peekskill residents from Westchester County? Right now, we are not in receipt of extra mask supplies, although we talk to them frequently and hope that. But right now, the answer is no. As soon as we have some, just like with the home test kits that the mayor was talking about earlier, we would let the city residents know they're available.
I think the confusion with the N95 is that they were sent to the libraries, and the library did that distribution last week with the N95.
Okay.
But we as the city did not get them.
We certainly support mask use anytime. Do department heads and city manager have the option to work remotely? We do work remotely depending on what the duties are. I'm here virtually every day. It just so happens that that's what I prefer to do. but yeah, we do have city employees who telecommute and whose duties permit that. Absolutely. It's a flexible arrangement. It helps keep people safe. Let's see. I think I covered the I think we covered the other questions, Mayor. So unless there's anything else you want to mention, we can close this out and meet up again next week.
No, I think that's it. I look forward to seeing everybody next week.
All right. Thank you so much. And we'll chat soon.
All right. Thanks, Andy.
Bye.